Hello and welcome back, and today we're going to make our first batch file. A batch file is just a series of commands in Windows command line that work together. So say we had something, we wanted to set a variable, variable v1, we wanted to set it as red. Okay, so we've now set v1 as red. We want to find out what we've set it as. So let's have a look and see what we've set v1 at. Red. Okay, so what we've done here is we've taken a variable, just random name, we've set it v1 equals red, and now to see what it is, to see what v1 is, we've gone echo, and then you put v1 inside ampersands, not ampersands, just percentage signs, and then that tells you what the variable is. So we've done those two different steps, and we could do them in a batch file. So what we're going to do is going to create a little batch file that asks us to fill a variable and then tells us what that variable is. Simple as that. So let's create the batch file. So we're going to change to my YouTube directory. Okay, and we're going to create a batch file called batch.bat. Okay, so we've created a batch file called batch.bat. Right, and this is our one here. So what we can do is we can go just to see if it works. We can go echo hello world, and that's just a standard command inside there. So if we go so to run this batch file, to run this batch command, we're going to just go batch.bat, and you can see that it says, goes to the first slide, it says echo hello world, and then it does what you ask it to. It does hello world. To repeat that, what I did was I started typing batch, but because there's only one file in this directory structure that starts with BA, if I press the tab key on my keyboard, it automatically fills it with the name of the file, and then all you have to do after that is press enter, and enter runs the batch file. So to go back to the batch file, we could change that hello world. Whoops. Change that hello world. Okay, so then if we go back here, we do batch.bat, and it says hello world, how are you? Okay, well that's fine and well. That just proves that the batch file is working. Now then, what we could then do is we could say what we were going to do originally. So we'll set a variable, and we'll set the variable called v1, and we'll set it as red, and then below that we'll echo v1. Oops. Okay, and then we'll echo what v1 is, and in theory that should just come back with the word red. So let's try that again, and sure enough, yes. So we've asked it to do batch.bat, we've set v1 to red in the batch file, and then we've echoed red. Okay, so we've combined the two commands that we did up here into one keystroke essentially, which is the essence of what batch files are good at. That's why we write batch files, because they can do two things 5 things, 10 things, 100 things, 1,000 things, all very, very quickly. All you've got to do is program them accordingly. And the programming language is extremely simple. Believe me, if I can pick it up, you can pick it up. So let's play around with this a little bit. So let's set V1 to green, and we'll go save. I'll go through the process of doing the keystrokes, the clicks, because I use a keyboard an awful lot, and I have to get used to the idea that when I save something, I just go Control S, and you can't see that on this presentation, obviously. So I've changed that V1 to green, and then I'm going to echo V1. So if everything's good, I should get a display saying green. Yeah. Now then, if we bring our batch file back up, what we can do is we can turn echo off. And what that's going to do is, so if you put the first line of your batch file as @echo off, we'll run the batch file and you can see the difference. So before, what was happening was we're running the batch file. It would tell us what the line was. It would tell us what the next line was, and then it would give us the output. If we take @echo off, we run the batch file, and it skips all the commands. It doesn't tell us what it's doing. It just gives us the output, which is far more efficient. It's a far better way to be able to look at it. Because if we use the command CLS, what that'll do is that'll clear our screen and take us back to the top. And we can still use our up and down arrow keys to get the previous commands. We run batch, we can see it's a much cleaner output. We can see that it's much simpler. So that is the best way to do it. So to go back to our batch file, if we wanted to ask the user for what they wanted to set V as, instead of just telling them what V1 is going to be, we could put a very simple little addition in. So if we go set P /P, V1 equals, P stands for prompt, so you're prompting the user for what the color is going to be or what the variable is going to be. It doesn't have to be a color, of course, it can be anything. Set P V1 equals what type of car. Yeah, and then echo car type equals V1. Whoops, spelling mistake. There we go. So car type equals V1. So save that. So basically, what we should get here is the application should ask the user what type of car, and then it'll tell them type of car. Okay, so let's try that. Run batch file. What type of car? Red Ford. There we go. Car type equals red Ford. Now then, this sounds like a very simple little command. It's a very little small function that you can use, but it's amazingly useful when it comes to building bigger applications. If you can get input from the user and then use that in a variable to create some kind of use from it, that's the basis of pretty much every program. So hopefully this has been useful to you. In the next one we'll go into more uses for setting variables and how you can use variables, and hopefully see you there. Okay, bye.